Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shout out to all the subscribers and big up to anybody new. So, Anthony Yarde versus Joshua Buatsi, excuse me. That's a really good fight. It's I almost want to say it's overdue. It's probably the best timing right now. They just had a little face off after they both respectively won. This was after Yarde won. They just had a little face off, which Buatsi, incredibly respectful man. Both of them are very respectful. But Yarde himself was like, you know, this fight's bigger now, which is true. But if they can't leave it for too much longer, because it's at its peak, I think, right now. It's like, you know, really what the UK light heavyweight domestic scene needs right now is a massive fight like this. And the timing couldn't be better, I don't think. Obviously, Joshua Buatsi coming off a good win against Dan Aziz. Although I watched that fight highlights back a little bit today, and I was just thinking, wow, if he stands there and tries to box with Yarde like he did with Aziz, I think he'll probably get beat to the punch. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Yarde's quicker. He's got probably more power than Buatsi and Aziz, I think. Explosive power. He's more athletic. He's probably got more, well, he's definitely got more experience now, and he's getting better. You know, it's hard to say against that last guy he just fought. I don't even know the guy's name. That was a shocking fight to have. I made a video about that. I actually pulled the video because it wasn't very good, and I didn't really it didn't feel good. But I was talking about that in that video where, you know, what are you going to get out of this? It's just stay busy, okay, but you know, really and truly, you could stay busy with a better opponent. And I know Tunde Ajayi defended their strategy on, you know, going in high, and then, you know, they'll sell it as like he's like he had 32 wins. But if you look down at this guy's record, the guy that Yarde just fought, I mean, none of those wins really were against a winning opponent. Maybe one or two, but it's just very poor matchmaking. And it just doesn't really do anything. I guess the argument is it keeps him busy, but you want to be keeping busy and getting better and improving. And you're not going to improve when you can just have your own way in basically a sparring session. But look, the Buatsi fight, back to stylistically about how that's coming about. I mean, I think Buatsi, I'd like to see him be a bit more aggressive against Yarde. I think he'd have to be. I can't just see him just hang there and box a little bit. He's a lot slower, you know, or I should say Yarde's a lot faster. He's got that more twitchy, responsive, reactive boxing, you know. His footwork's pretty good as well. Yarde can box and move. But I would say the questions would be what's going to happen later on past 9, 10, 11, and they're still boxing there. If Buatsi's picking the pace up and Yarde is going to match him for output, you know, when does those, what did Andre Ward say, the red blood cells fill up in those big muscles, and the back end of the fight could be a little rough for Anthony Yarde if his output has been, you know, because Buatsi's, you know, he's a busy fighter. He's a good body puncher as well, so maybe he can, you know, get some shots off downstairs. But I do think he gets a little lazy with his jab, and you know, he does be a bit, I don't know, sometimes he just lacks a little bit of fizz in his boxing, basically. And I don't think you can do that against Anthony Yarde. I think, you know, he's going to be able to beat you to the punch, counter punch you, hit you hard, you know. It's a tough fight for Buatsi, but it's a tougher, I think, I personally would favour Anthony Yarde right now if they fought, you know, hopefully they do fight in the next few months. But I think Yarde, given he could provide, you know, he could make the last 2 or 3 rounds and you know, kind of hang in there. But it would be a great fight. It really would be a fascinating fight. And then also at light heavyweight, I want to touch on Ben Whittaker really quickly, because he's certainly one to watch. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like his antics. I don't really care, to be honest. I don't really like them that much. I don't really dislike them. You know, people say he's like Marmite. Well, I'm the same with Marmite. I don't really mind it. It's all right. But with Ben Whittaker, I am impressed. I'll tell you that much. You know, I could watch him and be like, that's impressive. I know he's not doing it against very good opposition right now, and they are kind of tailor-made for him. Anybody that's a little bit slow and methodical and easy to read plays into his hands, so it can make him look better. But still, what he does is agility and that free-flowing, arrogant. Some videos going around in America. I think the Americans love that kind of thing, but they really use some sound effects to make the video better. But it's certainly got some traction out here, Ben Whittaker. But the one thing I love about him is it does seem like he's a gym rat, okay? And it does seem he's highly dedicated to getting better and better and better. And I love that. And I've spoken about that on this channel a lot. And one of the reasons why I covered Tim Tszyu quite a lot as well. One of the many reasons. But I love fighters when they're in the gym and they're doing the best they can to basically get the best out of themselves. And it's hard to tell when you post like a video of 20 seconds. And I don't know if he's been in the gym for 2 hours or whatever. But at the end of the day, it does seem he's constantly posting, talking about working hard. I think he's probably a hard, dedicated gym rat. And you match that with talent and his desire, and if he gets the right matchmaking, and I think he'll be a real threat in that division. I really do. I think he's a tremendous talent. He really is. I'd love to see him do it and see what happens once somebody can shut down that showboating, if you will. Do you know what I mean? Because it comes a time if you do see a fight where it's not working on it, what are you going to do then? Or if someone's going to hurt you, I want to see how his response is then, because you can't just fight like that all the time, as entertaining as it is. And look, that at the end of the day, that's him. He has to inject his own personality on what works for him. One of my favorite fighters to watch was Sergio Martinez, right, back in the day. And he had his own little arrogance about him, but it was just him. He just got comfortable with it. Joe Calzaghe as well. I used to love watching Calzaghe because he did, once he was comfortable and loose, he would just be himself, and that's how fighters like to fight. That herky-jerky rhythm is a part of them. It's a part of their personality that comes out. And when they're better at fighting like that, just let them fight like that. I don't really understand why. If you don't really like it, don't watch it. At the end of the day, if you find it disrespectful to the opponent, I understand that at the end of the day. But he's just being himself, and he's just fighting how he fights when he fights the best. And it seems like it to me. I mean, he's got some serious skills. He really does. But again, I'd like to see him do it at a higher level. But anyway, that's it from me. I would also like to see Callum Smith in this mix. There's some really good fights at light heavyweight in the domestic scene in the UK. But in terms of this video, let's make this happen. Buatsi, Yarde. Buatsi seemed a bit more interested in making the fight. Yarde, in the video that I made that I pulled, I was talking about Yarde, where he's basically a businessman now, and whatever the biggest money is, whatever the biggest fight is, that's what he's going to do. He's not so keen on just necessarily fighting Buatsi to get the crown or the best of the fighter in. He's just doing what the best deal is that he can get. That's what boxing really is. Really, at the end of the day, you've got to be out for yourself to a degree. But this is a big fight. There's going to be a good payday, you'd imagine. So there's no reason. I mean, who else is he going to fight? All the belts are tied up. Is he going to fight the winner of Bivol Beterbiev? That fight's not till June. I would take this fight with Buatsi. It might not be there later on down the line. There's a timing for it, and the timing is right now. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks as always for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a lovely week. Peace and love. I'm out.